talking about the what makes David an exceptional person, to the point where he was called the greatest king. It wasn't just from trying to be a better king than Saul, but it came from a lot of training that he had to go through from childhood, and he had to work on himself, understand some specific things, and work on his mentality to the point where he was able to see differently from a lot of other people that were in his time. Now, we talk about the Bible stories and we think it's just made up stories, or it's just stories of people that maybe never existed, or maybe they existed but it sounds as just a story to us. For example, when you hear that there is a plane crash and 500 people die, it sounds like just a number to you because probably it didn't happen, it's not happening to you directly, or you have no family member on that particular flight, so it sounds like just a number and you easily forget it. But it's different when it becomes more real to you when someone you know was involved in a crash. So when we talk about this Bible stories or whatsoever, even in any religion, any of the stories that were said about anybody, we see it as one story that doesn't even sound too real, or maybe even if it was real, we don't take it so seriously. Now, we'll look in depth a little bit about what makes David, and how it differentiates him from a lot of the people in the world right now. There was an event with the Israelis or the Israelites back in the day, and Goliath was, we know about the story, a lot of us knows about the story, and we'll talk about how David came and he slayed Goliath, and we'll make it so simple and we'll forget the details that were part of it that makes David a different being from Goliath. And I'm going to analyze this simple story and bring it to life and the reality of life that we live in this present age and time. Now, the young man was sent to his brothers to give them food, and when he got there, he discovered and he heard someone shouting and saying, "Is there any man in the land that can fight me, that can defeat me?" And any of that talk that was going on, every of the Israelites at that point, every of the soldiers, these are trained men, they hid. Nobody was coming out, not even the king. Now take note of this. Now David was interested. What was the king going to give to any man that can actually kill this guy? Now you could, if you read very clearly, you hear the excitement in his voice, like this is an opportunity for me. Not to show off, but with an understanding that it's not going to be difficult to actually deal with this person. Now his brother was like, keep quiet and go home. And I think that was the mindset of every other person in there, that just hide with the rest of us. Now I asked someone else, what would the king give to someone who kills this guy? They told him and they took him over to the king. Now this is where I want us to stick to. Now, he said, if there's nobody going, I can't go. And the king was like, but you're a little boy, and that guy has been a soldier from his youth. He's trying to tell David how to think and give him all the disadvantages that he might have against that guy. And what he was putting his focus on was who that guy is and what has been said about him. But take note of the response of this young man. He said, I was in the fields, and a bear came after my sheep, and it took one of them. I chased after it, and I killed it. Now, he was not saying anything about Goliath. He didn't really care what that guy was, or who he was, or what he has done. Now, his focus was on himself. Now, that's the difference between people. Some people look at the screen that has been placed in front of them and the ideas that the society tries to give to them. While some others, the great ones amongst us, the ones who knows how to bend society to the way they want it to be like, the ones who knows how to bend reality to the way they want it, they don't see the screen or the TV screen that is being projected to them by the society. Rather, they look at the mirror. And when you look at the mirror, what do you see in the mirror? You see yourself. You see yourself in fullness compared to what they are trying to project to you. So now they are talking about Goliath and how strong he is. David's response was in no way connected to who Goliath was. He didn't say, oh, I think Goliath is going to have a flaw. No, there was no business with him and that guy. What his business was on himself. Now another thing happened. A lion came after my sheep and took one, and I went after it. So we talk sometimes, I would say things like we think it's only Samson who killed the lion, but David actually did, but we don't hold on to that part. I went after it and I killed it. His focus wasn't on what the people were trying to give to him, wasn't on the screen Goliath was trying to play to his mind, but instead was on himself. So a lot of us thinks that, oh, society says you must be like this, you must be like that. So we have to adapt to that idea because that's the screen that has been played to us. Nobody has the time to really look inward and see themselves and how they work in the society. So if you look at men like the Jesus, men like the Muhammad, men like the Buddhas, these are men who had time to look into themselves and find what is really in there. Not men who just followed status quo, not men who just follow this is how it must be done. Because before them, things were not done the way they decided to do things. It was done different from the angle they came from. So before David, killing giants was an impossible task. But now take note to the fight before I come to the other point here that needs to be made. Now they gave David the armor and all of that, but he couldn't really use that. That was not his skill. That's not what he has trained himself for. Note that he has always been in the fields with the animals, and at that time was when he built his mindset. He was alone for a long time that he was able to correct some mentalities. So being out there and trying to be part of the trend or part of the circle of the world and just trying to blend in is not what stands you out. That does not really help you in any way. However, it's fun to do that, but you can be in the trend and you don't have to be part of it mentally. It's not like you don't have to wear the clothes that people wear. That's not what I'm saying. But there's a mental distinct from what I must do and what I want to do. There are two different things. What I must do is what society tells you. What I want to do is what comes from within. And most times it's always contradictory to what society says, but that isn't the point. The point is, are you free from what society is trying to lock you up with? So if David thought like the rest of the others, David would not stand out. And from that point, he became known and his songs were sung. Now, this is them in the battlefield. Seeing Goliath is an opportunity to see the screen and understand that this guy is way bigger than I am, and with one crush, one hit, I'm gone. But that wasn't what he was seeing. Every other person was seeing that, but he was seeing something different. And he told the guy, today I'm going to kill you and cut your head and hand it over to the birds. He wasn't just boasting, he was seeing himself and his abilities because of the time he has spent knowing and understanding himself. So Goliath was there, facing David and ready to kill him. On a normal day, when you see something that mighty coming towards you, even if you had the intentions of killing it, your confidence would waver. But none of that happened. It's not just a story, it's a real thing. This, like, people were there, like there was sword, there was armor, there was everything. We say it like it's a story that it was not real, but it was. It's just like the life of Muhammad was a very real thing. The guy went through a lot of persecution. The guy was almost murdered multiple times. But what makes him great as he is The societal norms was not a thing for them. Muhammad was always restricting to the caves, like I've said in the other videos. He was always restricting. Why was he doing this? It's not because he didn't like people. People respected this guy because of his honesty. And check very well. If you can study, you know what I'm saying. But during the process of him trying to find out, analyze life, and know what it is and why it is the way it is, he found things not about people, but about himself, and about the reason why he is alive and the reason for humanity. And in his coming back, he had a lot of people who were against what he was teaching, and they tried to kill him multiple times. It's not just because he wanted to go against status quo or he just wanted to be different in any way, but rather this is something that naturally comes when you find yourself, when you have time to understand that the only thing society has for you is to trap you. Once you are trapped, yes, society is cool with you. They have no issues with you. They have no issues with you. But the moment you decide, when everybody is bowing their head in fear and you decide to stand up, that head is the one they want to cut. They would want to cut it off. Now, Goliath was coming at David. David did not flinch. Instead, he charged towards Goliath. What kind of mind? Like, you are holding a catapult and someone is holding a sword. This guy has been trained. He has fought battles. You haven't fought anything. But David did not see himself as disadvantaged, not once. But the truth is this: society would always want to show you disadvantages. Just the same way that they were trying to tell him, but you are just a boy. Society would always tell you what they want you to know and what they think about you. But the only thing that really matters is what you think about yourself and how much you've known yourself. So now, charging towards Goliath was from a place of understanding that there's nothing I cannot do. And one fling, the guy fell. But this is not that. The fact that they killed the guy is not the main part for me. The fact is, he charged towards this guy. It's the mindset behind it. A lot of people would doubt, and what will bring doubt is trying to now seeing into what the people are trying to put in your mind, that this is what the truth is. That's what brings the doubt. But he didn't have that because he didn't have one spot or point in time when he was trying to think what they think about him. Even his brothers thought he was dead. Like this, the idea of even going into this was death for him. Are you looking at the mirror or are you looking at the screen? The screen tells you what people think you should do, what the society wants you to do, but the norms and traditions of the outside world. The mirror shows you one thing: yourself. So we decide whichever one to go with. You decide to go with the society, yes, problems will still come. You decide to stick with what makes you happy and the freedom that you naturally have, problems will still come. But the point here is this: freedom is always worth it. And it's the truth. And if you want to be the best of yourself, you don't have to try to be a great man. There's no point doing that. But once you are yourself, you are automatically great. Because no other person can be made the way you can be. So you might just be listening to this and say it's a normal conversation, but yeah, it's what you make out of it that matters. Thank you.